The objective of the literacy phase is to form as many words as possible to determine their literacy score. Thus, options of employment for phase 2. The literacy board is set between all players and boxes placed on their designated spots. After shuffling, 16 degree cards are drawn from the degree card deck, then are all placed between all players. After scrambling the letter tiles, each player chooses 16 random letter tiles from the tile pile and sets it onto their tile area.
Players choose 2 degrees and place it into their hand. They are unable to pursue any other degree with a higher requirement than the card with the higher literacy score requirement already in their hand. The card with the higher requirement is called the major, while the lower requirement is called the minor. If the major and minor have the same LS requirement, the player chooses which is the major and the minor. In 30 seconds, players form the most complex word or the most words possible, utilizing 16 tiles to gain literacy score badges, which are added and rounded to the nearest whole number, determining their total literacy score for the round, which after players are given literacy score badge. The minimum word length is 2 letters and the maximum word length is 10 letters. 3 rounds are played in total, and the literacy score is the mean of the 3 rounds badges. Players are able to retake the literacy score test, totaling 3 rounds during phase 2s at the cost of 3 turns.
Players cannot repeat the exact same word nor their singular or plural form if one or the other is already present. For example, if banana has been created, bananas cannot be used as another word. No slang, slurs, abbreviations, or acronyms are permitted. If the player's total score is a decimal after playing 3 rounds, round down to the nearest whole number. The employment phase's objective is to accumulate wealth and years of residency while managing meters over the course of multiple turns to eventually naturalize into a permanent resident in phase 3. The employment board is set between all players. The employment deck, the crime deck, and cash are set in the center of the board. Each player sets up with a pencil and line paper in front of them, along with 1,000 Evanerium starting cash on hand. Studs are placed on each meter. The first turn is given to the one who wins rock, paper, scissors. Following turns continue clockwise. Each player takes their degree card, if in possession, from phase 1 and set it onto their HUD in phase 2. Phase 2 lasts for 5 cycles. 1 cycle is 12 rounds and 1 round is 4 turns, tracked on the calendar. Each turn has 24 hours to allocate to the actions at the player's discretion, be it sleep, work, if employed, action cards, and crime cards, which must be balanced to maintain the 3 meters, health, stress, and GMC. The stud on the calendar is moved after the player's turn. If employed, 8 hours of each turn are always used. Each hour spent on sleep grants 1 health. Each hour spent on recreation removes 1 stress. No cards are required to perform these actions. If players wish to use action cards, hours must be available to use them. Each meter is tracked using a stud. The health and stress meters can go up to a 50 maximum. If health reaches 0, the player loses and is unable to continue playing. If stress reaches 40 or more, players are limited to only 16 hours to allocate per turn until it goes below 40. If the player's stress reaches 50, they lose 1 turn and stress returns to 40. GMC can go from -20 to 20. Negative numbers lead to consequences. GMC can be gained through professional jobs or through available options on action cards. The maximum and minimum numbers of all meters cannot be surpassed. The health and stress meters start at 25. The GMC meter starts at 0. If all cards of the deck are in the discard pile, shuffle the cards and place them back into their respective deck. For the event deck, all cards in the deck and the discard pile except in the player's hand are shuffled. Living expenses such as rent, food, and gas are factored together as 4,000 Evaneriums. As a base, that can be affected by scenario cards. Any extra money is carried over into phase 3. All players begin the phase with housing and automatically become housed once they're able to pay the living expenses for the round if they are homeless. Additionally, 10% of a player's pay is taxed.
Each player draws the top 3 cards from the employment deck, each having an LS requirement for entry-level jobs. The player's LS must be at least what is on the employment card to choose that option. The player can choose to take 1 out of the 3 cards or keep their current job, if they'd be overqualified or don't meet the requirements for better jobs. If a card is chosen, the other 2 cards are discarded along with the previous job, if they changed from a previous job. While players may qualify for higher level employment options, opportunities to do so are not always available. Each card will display effects on meters, the industry, and pay per round. If a player decides to change occupation, they will receive a bonus to their pay if they remain in the same industry. Our currency, Evanariums, is denoted using the image on your screen right now, with denominations in ones, tens, 50s, hundreds, 500s, and thousands. One Evanarium is usually referred to as a tongue. When counting $1 bills, the noun is repeated based on the number of bills of that up to the value of 3. Four or more $1 bills with the fourth and onward called a sahur. For example, if a player has 4 Evanariums, it is stated using the term tung. If players are unable to pay living expenses for 2 consecutive rounds, they are evicted and become homeless. Homeless players keep their degree cards but must discard their employment card the turn after they become homeless. Being homeless decreases health and increases stress by 2 for each turn the player remains homeless. Any player is able to draw a crime card at the expense of losing any other action for their turn. It is best for players who lack funds or are homeless. Each crime card decreases GMC. The likelihood of getting caught increases for each consecutive crime. Getting caught leads to a loss of turns. Crime cards range between levels 1 through 3 based on severity. The probability of being caught is based on a dice roll, as stated on the cards. Along with the decrease of GMC for committing crimes, committing multiple crimes will lead to a loss of turns, tracked by the deportation meter. If caught with a crime, all the negative impacts apply, plus what is stated on the card. Additionally, the deportation meter only changes in the case that you are caught. If you manage to get away with it, the deportation meter does not change. The deportation meter goes up to a maximum of 15. If caught, a player's deportation meter increases by the number indicated on the crime card, and for every -3 GMC. If the deportation meter reaches 15, the player is unable to continue playing and is out. Beginning in Cycle 4, players are able to purchase a document token, which has a base cost of 50,000 Evanariums to move on to Phase 3 at the end of Cycle 5. They are only able to purchase the token after having their health to be at least 30, their stress at most 30, their GMC at least 5, are employed, and are not homeless. Negative GNC leads to an increase of the document token's price by 5% per negative GMC, while positive numbers decrease the cost of the document token by 1% per GMC. GMC can be granted through professional jobs or through available options on action cards. Only 1 document token can be held. If players are unable to meet the requirements by the end of Cycle 5, they are unable to continue playing. Before we continue to the next section, I would like to take some time to thank our sponsor, War Tinder.
A flying pancake from the sky. Well, you may be asking where that's from. Well, that's from today's sponsor.
Before we continue the sponsor, I'm gonna thank my sponsor, OnlyFriends. These people are my only friends. We have no friends. Are you like depressed, emo, everything? Well, these 2 people over here can help you. wait, we should do that. I should do that too. To have your emotional support. Yeah. I have nothing else to do. I have no other ideas. What do you want me to do? Come back now.
War Tinder. War Tinder is a free-to-play cross-platform MMO military game focused on combined arms combat, letting players fight in historically accurate aircraft, armed vehicles, and naval ships from the early 20th century to modern times. Featuring intense PvP battles, PvE content, and a focus on realistic vehicular combat across land, air, and sea. You can do all this amazing gameplay while having over 2,500 armored vehicles, planes, and ships to choose from. Whether you like to be in the air, land, or sea, Just download the game and you can experience all this amazing content straight from the comfort of your own home.
Phase 3 Naturalization Part 1 Phase Objective. The main objective of the final phase is to use all resources gained in the previous 2 phases in order to obtain a green card and become a permanent resident through a reenactment of the standard green card interview. Phase Setup. The victor of a round of rock paper scissors will go first, and the play will continue clockwise until all players are processed. The naturalization board is set in front of one player with slots to put a specific type of cards. That player then purchases a lawyer based on their current finances and GMC score to give them extra stats to aid them in their interview. Afterwards, the player lays out all of the cards they've gained throughout the game face up in their designated slots, as well as the piece of paper, so the other players acting as immigration service officers can count them out, determining the outcome. Part 2. Lawyers. Lawyers are split up into 3 different categories: Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3, with each one providing more benefits but being more expensive at the same time. Level 1 lawyers provide +3 health, -2 stress, and +3 GMC, and cost 2,250 Ebenariums to purchase. Level 2 lawyers cost about 5,250 Ebenariums and give +9 health, -9 stress, and +9 GMC. Level 3 lawyers are the most desirable, giving +15 health, -15 stress, and +15 GMC, but at the cost of you having to pay 7,500 Ebenariums to get them. Only one lawyer can be purchased per player, and upon purchase are no longer able to change their choice. Counting points. For each player, all their money, health, stress, GMC, their green card, and employment card are given point values, with the winner being the player with the highest point value. Part 3. Parameters. Once all categories have been counted, they are added to form your final score. This continues until all players' scores have been counted. These scores are all compared to determine the winner. The proper name of each denomination must be pronounced out loud to be counted towards the final score.